I guess eventually Cleveland had to win, right? And this is a win. It's a dub to have Hammer and Emmett here filling in for the guys on Sportsman.
Well, listen, we normally do Saturday mornings on ESPN Radio, and we've worked together here at ESPN Cleveland for a long time, and so nobody should be breaking down the New England Patriots against the Baltimore Ravens
like us,
quite like the two of us. We were up last night. Ravens blowing a double-digit fourth-quarter lead seemed pretty much on par. This happens to them a lot. New England had a 7-play touchdown drive, a 9-play touchdown drive. They win on Sunday Night Football in Baltimore 28-24. Lamar got hurt again. I was going to ask you, which headline for January do you think is more likely? Is it A, New England is back in the Super Bowl? Great. I'm sure everybody – or is it like the Ravens make a coaching change and blow the whole thing up? Because I think both of them are possible.
Yeah, I think it's more likely the Patriots end up in the Super Bowl than the Ravens firing John Harbaugh. Look, when your MVP caliber quarterback is injured throughout the entire season, it's tough to have big-time expectations for him. It's just difficult for that to happen. So they had an off year. Right? They had a down year. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm sure people in Baltimore might not feel like that, but sometimes you need a little bit of perspective, and you go, okay, this wasn't a playoff year. Now they still, I guess, could make the playoffs. I just don't think it's likely.
Yeah, it's so typical for the two of us because you're being measured and I'm overreacting from a Baltimore perspective. And we will get to the Patriots, which is it's an awesome story, except for Patriots fans, we're all jealous of you. For the Baltimore side of things, Emmett, it's not just that they're not going to make the playoffs. They had some horrendous losses this year. And I thought last night was just another example of one. They're up 2 scores in the fourth quarter, in position to win. The Patriots are calling ridiculous fake punts that, feel like they're out of the Cleveland Browns Bubba Ventrone playbook. They're a mess. And then the Ravens, for some reason, just decide we're not going to play Derrick Henry for the final 7 minutes of the game when the Patriots couldn't tackle him at all. There are so many, curious, inexplicable things that I think are happening here in my mind with Baltimore that have me just wondering, whether something deep inside that team is more broken than anybody on the outside really realizes.
Yeah, I don't think it's as complex. I think you have a situation, again, where your quarterback was out. Now, it is a little weird that they just didn't run Derrick Henry over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, Lamar's out.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And you're talking about Derrick Henry, 18 carries for 128 yards. He was balling.
7 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
There were guys in the fantasy playoffs that thought Derrick Henry was going to single-handedly carry him to a win. Maybe he did, but he should have had about 6 more carries and the Ravens would have won.
Now, it did feel like earlier in the game, the Ravens were desperate. I got that feeling for them. The way they came out, the way they were playing, I'm like, this team knows they need this win. And then it kind of dissipated, right? They got up, and it's in the fourth quarter, and I don't know if I ever felt confident that they could finish the job because you got to put some drives together, and they didn't.
A couple of big turnovers for Baltimore obviously helped shift this game. Emmett, on the other side for New England, Drake Maye was 31 of 44 for 380 yards.
Not bad.
He threw 2 touchdowns. He took a couple of sacks. He also ran for 25 yards. I know it's probably going to be Matthew Stafford, but I think Drake Maye is one of the top 3 or 4 stories of the NFL this year. And now I think if you redraft the 2024 draft, him and Caleb Williams, both of them had unbelievable weekends. We'll talk about the Bears' incredible comeback on Saturday night in a little bit. But I think Drake Maye is firmly right now, in my mind, in the MVP conversation.
Oh, no doubt. Now, I did think that Matthew Stafford won it, even in a loss on Thursday night. I was like, all right, it's Stafford's, it's his award to lose.
That loss was on a lot of things for the Rams, not on Matthew Stafford.
It is not on you, Matthew Stafford. But then Drake Maye comes out and does this on the road fourth quarter comeback, right? That is exactly what you want from a franchise guy. But it's funny how fast things happen, because this time last year we would have said, Jaden Daniels is the best young quarterback, especially, coming out in that draft. And a year later, we don't feel like that because he had some injury issues. Now, Drake's having a great season. Can you duplicate this year after year after year? Because that is when you become an elite franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I thought he made a couple of mistakes, but Emmett, obviously he redeemed himself in the fourth quarter. And I think one of the real steps for deeming a guy a franchise quarterback, like sometimes people get all wrapped up in fantasy numbers and who's throwing for however many yards. And I went through those stats, and they're impressive. Emmett, when the game's on the line, do you trust that the guy's going to take your team down and score the game-winning touchdown? And that's what Drake Maye did last night. I almost don't care about what happened in the first three quarters of this game, where there were a couple of big mistakes that Drake Maye made that helped give Baltimore a little bit of an advantage. If you're that guy in the fourth quarter at the end of the game that you have a lot of faith and trust is going to take your guy down, your team down, and be able to do it, that is like the definition of a franchise quarterback. And so I thought he was having a great season regardless.
Yes.
To do it in this spot on national TV, really trying to take advantage of Jacksonville beating the Broncos and having still a chance for the number one seed. Buffalo had won here in Cleveland earlier in the day, so it was important for them to keep pace in their divisional race. I thought that was yet 4 or 5 more check marks next to boxes in terms of all the things Drake Maye has to do to really firmly grasp what being the starting quarterback, the franchise quarterback of the Patriots is.
I mean, think about it. Do we remember what Tom Brady did in the first quarter of games? No. Pat Mahomes, are we like, man, in the second quarter, he's crazy? No, we don't at all. It's about the fourth quarter, game on the line. And not just can you get a touchdown when needed, can you get a first down when it's needed? Can you sustain a drive, 4-minute drives, right? Can you keep the ball? There's a lot that goes into being a franchise quarterback, and Drake Maye right now is showing all the signs of, I'm not going to put Tom Brady on him yet, even though they play for the same team, but he's got the making of being the guy that's next up. And, there's a lot of teams and cities in the NFL that I'm sure envy the New England Patriots because they didn't go too far in between finding franchise quarterback.
We're in Cleveland, Ohio, so we don't really.
We're going to mention that
a lot.
1,000 times.
Shout out to Cleveland, by the way. If you're in Cleveland, we love you.
Yeah.
Emmett, so we're not traditionally Patriot haters, but we are, I think, just overall jealous of what the Patriots have. Emmett, I think as a fan, I'm more jealous of the Patriots any other team in sports.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the Belichick-Brady combo for 20 years, 6 Super Bowls.
More than the Steelers, who have made the playoffs over and over again, have had 3 coaches in my lifetime.
Like, it's hate, but it's pure envy hate. So we were wondering this morning, what is the team that you're the most jealous of? Because to me, I can't. They go a whole 3 or 4 years without a franchise quarterback. They dabble in the Cam Newton business. They draft Mac Jones, and it worked for a year, but then it fit. And now all of a sudden these long-suffering Patriot fans are like, oh, finally we got ourselves another franchise QB after 5 whole years without one.
Yeah, hey, I mean, they did swing and miss on Mac Jones.
That's it wasn't even that bad of a swing and a miss.
It wasn't.
Be a part of Unsportsmanlike Nation. The Dr. Pepper call-in line is open. You can give us a buzz at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. ESPN Nation presented by Dr. Pepper. It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.